In this lecture, we're going to see how to work with C++ sequence types in QML. This is actually very easy to understand and handle. There are many list and vector types in C++ that are represented by arrays in QML, and we have a list here, a list of integers, all these different lists, the vectors, the standard vectors, and all these things here are transformed to arrays when they get to QML. We're going to create a Qt Creator project and play with this. Okay, here we are in Qt Creator. We're going to create our project. It's a Qt Quick application as usual, an empty one. We're going to name it sequence to array demo. Save it in the usual location. Choose the Qt version that we have installed. And we're finished. We should create our CPP helper class. You already know what we are using in the course, CPP class here. It should inherit Q object. This is the plumbing we need to play with these concepts. We are going to include a vector class, Q vector, and define a private section here and put in a vector of strings, just like this. We want to define a method called QML array to CPP that we are going to use to send a vector or an array from Qt Quick and receive it as a vector in C++. So we're going to say QVector, QString, and say vector. This will do. And we need to decorate this as QInvocable because we want to call it from Qt Quick. We also want to put in another method, which is also going to be QInvocable. It's going to return a vector of strings, and it's going to be called, this is going to do. We want to call this method from Qt Quick to retrieve data from C++ and display that on the Qt Quick side. We want to implement these methods. Let's go up and implement this. Okay, I noticed that we have a typo here. This should be QString. Let's go back to the header and correct that. And we need to implement this method. This method is going to simply return our mVector field. And this is going to loop over the vector that we get from Qt Quick and display it in C++ here. So we're going to say for each, you can use whatever loop construct you want. This works faster and better for me. So I'm going to say QString, string in the vector container. And I am going to debug string. If you don't have QDebug included, you should do that because it is needed for this to work. Now, before we do anything, we want to put some data in the vector here. So we can say mVector. There are many ways to put data in a vector. You can append data. You can do a pushback to put data to the end. We're going to append. Let's say 1 mVector append 2 mVector append 3, and let's put a 4 and stop. Okay, this will do. Let's go to main to play with these things. We're going to include our famous QQML context. QQML context. We include our CPP class. We create an instance of it. And we set that as a context property to be available in QML. We say engine, root context, set context property. We say CPP class, and we pass a reference to our object here, CPP class. Now we can head over to QML and do our stuff. Let's say sequence demo for the title here. We want to put a button in here, so we should say import Qt Quick controls. We put a button in here. ID is going to be mbutton1 text is going to be sent to C++ because this is Qt Quick. And when it is clicked, we want to create an array of fruits like this, and we want to send it to C++ using CPP class. Let's go and check the method again. It is called QML array to CPP. Let's copy that, come back to QML and put it here. Put in our array like this. I think this is going to work. Let's try it. When we call this method here, we're going to fall in C++ here, and we are going to loop showing each fruit and this array here. Let's run and try this out. Click the button and you see our fruits here from apple to orange. This is working. We are able to send an array on the Qt Quick side and receive that as a Q vector of strings. And you can try and replace Q vector with a standard vector or a Q list. It's going to work the same way. They are all transformed to an array at the Qt Quick side. Okay, now that we can send from Qt Quick to C++, it is time to read from C++ and send to Qt Quick. We're going to do that in this second button of ours. So we're going to say button IDM button 2. Text is going to be and when it is clicked, we want to call the method to retrieve strings from C++. Let's come back here and say var the same thing really and say CPP class and call this method here. Just to test that it is working, we're going to output its length and we're going to say print Let's run the application and see what we get. We should have a 4 because we have put 4 elements in the vector on the C++ side. We click on the button here, we see a 4, so this is a good sign. But the 2 buttons are overlapping. We forgot to position the second button in a better way, so we should say anchors top equals mbutton1 bottom. We want to put it to the bottom of the first button here, and we can now loop over this thing to output the data in Qt Quick. And it is very easy to do in JavaScript. We can say R for each and put in function in here, put in the element that we want to print, and put in the body of the function like this, and console log element. Let's try this out, see if we are correct. Read, and you see 1, 2, 3, 4. This is working correctly. We are able to send collection data from C++ to Qt Quick and in the other direction from Qt Quick to C++. This is all for this lecture. In the next one, we're going to see how to work with Q variant list and Q variant map. I'll see you there.